yeah, let's get this motherfucking top 30 list done, baby. Yo, what's up everybody? It's your boy Mood616 here, and yes, it is finally here. My picks, my personal favorite picks for the top 30 horror films of 2015. Yes, I just wanted to throw out that little minor disclaimer. Yeah, these are just my personal favorite top 30 films of 2015. This is based on about 152 2015 releases that I watched last year. I know that was just an insane amount of films, but a lot of really good films last year. A lot of solid films. Of course, you know, the good ones, of course, comes with lots of bad ones too. There was a lot of shitty films too, but overall 2015 was a really solid year for horror films. Yeah, I mean, I can't really complain. I don't think it was, you know, quite as solid as 2014. I think 2014 was just a fantastic year. But, you know, with that said, this one had a lot of really unique gems. You know, it was kind of the year of the horror comedy. You know, there was a lot of slasher films that were really good, like enough to make a top 10 list just with slasher flicks, which is incredible. There always is a lot of slasher films, but there's a lot of good ones this year. So kind of a unique year, you know, a lot of good indie stuff. There was actually like some good mainstream films, which is strange. But yeah, you know, without further ado, let's get into my top 30 picks, my top favorite 30 films of 2015. Starting off with number 30, this one right here is from Midnight Releasing, and it's one that, you know, I didn't really know what to expect from it, and I was actually blown away by this one. It's really good stuff. Of course, it's low budget, but and it's called Hellfire, and at number 30 here. This one is basically about a group of prostitutes that decide to do a robbery, rob these kind of drug dealers because they heard that they got some money or whatever. And they end up taking this one guy hostage, but it turns out this guy that they take hostage is the son of the devil. And of course, shit starts going down in this film. It was really good. Like, you know, yeah, I didn't really know fully what to expect from this, being so low budget and stuff, but, you know, they did a good job, good effects. I thought the acting was pretty decent in this. There's some pretty decent funny moments in it. It was just a good type demon film. Really enjoyed it. Hellfire. And at number 30, check that out. Number 29 is one of the first horror comedies on the list. And this is another one that I didn't really know what to expect because there was reviews all over the place on this one. From, you know, worst horror film of the year to, you know, one of the funniest horror comedies of the year. And I was like, okay. And, you know, this one being released by Scream Factory, some of their contemporary titles are completely hit and miss. Some are fantastic, some are not that good. So I really didn't know what to expect. And number 29, Bloodsucking Bastards. This is basically Office Space with vampires. A lot of memorable one-liners in this one. I love the setting in the office. I love that setting. It's fantastic. But I thought there was a lot of clever comedy in this that really did work. It gets super gory towards the end, so it's got a little bit of everything in there. But fun characters, just ridiculousness. There's so much ridiculousness in this one. Very funny stuff, but Bloodsucking Bastards, if you haven't checked it out, do so. Number 29. In at number 28 is another one I didn't really know what to fully expect from it because the premise seemed a little simple, and sometimes these films work and sometimes they don't. Number 28, Hidden. If you haven't seen it, it's basically just about a family that actually this whole city gets evacuated due to some kind of airborne virus that's, you know, infecting people. The short and long of it is basically they evacuate the city, and they find this this underground bunker where they have to live and survive. And that's what it is. It's basically just them living in this underground bunker, the parents and a little girl. And they have to deal with, you know, these kind of diseased and walkers up on the in the world. And yeah, it's just their struggle. But the third act hits in this one. It, you know, gets really good. There's some really cool twists and things that are happening. But yeah, I really enjoyed Hidden. Great atmosphere. And, you know, it's amazing how they kept the film going just with like 3 people, and it was interesting. So yeah, Hidden. In at number 20, number 27 is a slasher film from Australia, and this one right here, again, I wasn't 100% sure going into it, just based on the cast. Tara Reid, I mean, she's just a horrible actress, but, you know, a lot of films lately with Bill Moseley and Kane Hodder in them together aren't really the best films, but this one was. I thought it was really enjoyable, and that's Charlie's Farm. This was a fun flick, man. I really liked Nathaniel Jones as, you know, Charlie, the big-ass killer. 7 feet, 375 pounds of a pure killing machine. Well, that's actually the real-life size of Nathaniel Jones. So it looks scary, man. I thought the kills are pretty cool. The setup is, you know, very generic, but, you know, actually the film in itself, there's nothing really new that Charlie's Farm is bringing to the table, but they do it pretty well. You know, it's executed pretty well, so yeah, just kind of a big surprisement for me, but big surprising film. Yeah, I thought it was cool, man. Bill Moseley, Kane Hodder, of course, have really small roles in this one, not the leads or nothing, but yeah, Charlie's Farm, check it out if you haven't. Really good slasher film. That was number 27. Number 26 is the first film on my list that I actually don't have in my possession. There's a couple of films in here that I don't actually own yet. I'm working out on getting them. I just haven't grabbed them yet because the prices are just insane in Canada right now. And number 26 is going to be Goodnight Mommy. I thought it was a really interesting flick, man. Kind of a, you know, it's a very, very type slow burn. Don't really want to say too much about Goodnight Mommy without giving anything away, but it's got some head-scratching moments, you know, and I don't know. If you've seen the film out there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Don't really want to go too much into it, but Goodnight Mommy, number 26, really well shot and well acted. It was pretty interesting, so number 26. Number 25 is another slasher film. And this is another one of those, you know, 80s throwback type slasher films. And again, I wasn't 100% on, you know, I didn't really know what to expect from this one because these ones sometimes can be very big misses. But this one worked. Lost After Dark. I like the setup in this film. Again, not really bringing a whole lot new, you know, story-wise or execute. Well, I mean, execution was a little different and stuff. And that was one of the cool things about this film was, you know, the order of the kills. And just the fact that, you know, the characters were actually kind of likable in this film, which was a big selling point. But yeah, it was fun. Good atmosphere, pretty good kills. The killer was kind of the down point of this film. I didn't think the killer was that unique or, you know, interesting or anything. But, you know, otherwise, you know, the film was very enjoyable. It was enjoyable. It had fun characters and it was legitimately decent. So, Lost After Dark had a good 80s vibe to it and stuff. So, that was number 25. Number 24 is a creature feature, again, that I kept hearing such mixed opinions on this one. You know, people were saying it sucked and others were saying it was pretty good. Nothing really too praising it and stuff, so I didn't really know what to expect. I believe this is an Irish film, and it's called From the Dark. Now, it's basically just about a couple that's, you know, going on a trip. They break down, they take, and then they basically start getting, you know, harassed by this this type creature thing. So it's just a struggle for their survival type film, but shot really well, pretty much all in the dark. It's got some really tense moments, and I love the atmosphere of this film. It just really worked for me. I thought it was intense, and it just had a good overall vibe and feel to it. The tone was awesome. You know, it was played pretty straightforward. So, From the Dark, good film. Really enjoyed it. And that was number 24. In at number 23 is a German film. Again, had a lot of mixed reviews and opinions on this one. I think it's a little misunderstood. I believe that a lot of people didn't fully understand what this movie was trying to portray or get across to the viewer, and it is called Der Samurai. I'm just going to read the back quickly on this one. A shape-shifting, cross-dressing psychopath wielding a samurai sword cuts a bloody swath of carnage through a small German village in the surreal mix of violence, sexual desire, and dark comedy that recalls early David Lynch. Now, if that interested you, definitely give it a shot. I think this one is a little bit, like I said, misunderstood, but it's got some really crazy moments, got some good gore, and it's a thinker. It's not a film that, you know, spoon feeds you at all, makes you kind of think, and I think it's interesting. I think it's just a really different type of film, and that's why it kind of makes this list. So, Der Samurai in at number 23. Next film on my list, in at number 2 that I do not have in my possession. I'm working out trying to grab one for cheap. So expensive in Canada. And in number 2 is a film called Almost Mercy. Almost Mercy is basically about a guy that's getting bullied, and then it turns into like a revenge film. I know that might not sound overly that appealing, but this one also has Bill Moseley and Kane Hodder in it in smaller roles, so that's kind of interesting. 2 films in my top 30 with them, and they also were in another film this year called Old 37, which was a raging piece of shit in my opinion. But yeah, anyways, they make cameo appearances in this film. But I thought the execution was really well done, and it gets really nasty in the 3rd act, and I really like how this one played out. I like the characters, it was intense, it was fun, shot well, good music and stuff, so check out Almost Mercy if you haven't. In at number 22. Number 21 is a Dustin Mills film, and I think Dustin Mills seems to crack my top 30 or top list every single year with something that he's done. You know, and yeah, this one's great because it's kind of like his love letter to Italian cinema, which is very cool. And it's called Invalid. Yeah, this one right here is basically about a girl that's kind of forced to look after her brother who's invalid. He's just kind of comatose in a way. But all of a sudden she starts hearing his voice inside her head, and then crazy shit starts going down. Like I said, it's like a, you know, Dustin Mills' love letter to Italian cinema. It's shot, you know, very much like Italian films. It's lit like Italian films, like Bava and Argento, fancy colors and stuff. But this one's very cool. It's a very interesting film. I thought it was one of, if not, this might even be Dustin Mills' best film so far, which is saying a lot because I really like Skinless, Ballad of Skinless Pete, which is also known as Skinless. Kill That Bitch among films. This one is a really good piece of work. It's, you know, it's quite legit. Of course, it's got Brandon Skalkill and Dave Parker, who's Mr. Park from YouTube. They do fantastic jobs in this one, of course. Brandon Skalkill plays the invalid in this. Good film, though, man. I really enjoyed it. Check out Invalid. Next up here, that was number 21. Number 20 is, I believe, another Irish film, if I'm not mistaken. And this one has been compared to Sinister. It's basically kind of the same premise, but it is a lot different in execution and stuff like that. And yeah, number 20 is The Canal. Now, it's basically about a film archivist that is archiving films, and he's watching this one little short film, and he notices that his house is in this film. And, you know, he continues to watch, and he learns that there was a bunch of, like, crazy murders that happened in his house, and then his wife disappears, and a bunch of crazy things go down and stuff. I really enjoyed this film. I thought the acting was fantastic, the atmosphere, the setting, the execution of this, it was creepy at times. I really enjoyed this. I don't understand why there was any type of hate for this film, but, you know, I watched this one earlier when it first came out in the year, and then I rewatched it, and I just absolutely loved it. I thought it was fantastic, but, you know, it's very similar to Sinister, but very, very different at the same time, so check out The Canal. Really enjoyed it. Number 20. Number 19 is another midnight release, and this one right here can kind of be, you know, in a nutshell, classified as like a horror version of Groundhog Day. So in at number 19 is Blood Punch. In a nutshell, this one's basically about, you know, these two right here, and there's another guy involved. Kind of, they get into like this weird kind of love triangle out in the secluded cabin. Anyways, this guy ends up killing her boyfriend, and lo and behold, he comes back, and they start reliving the same day over and over again. So that's the Groundhog Day effect right there. But it's very, very well done. I thought the screenplay was awesome. You know, it was clever. It was really clever. Let's put it that way. So very clever film. With good characters, funny moments, good kills, with a really good ending. So great screenplay, man, and won an award on my podcast for, you know, best screenplay or best script or whatever. Blood Punch, awesome stuff. Really enjoyed it. Check it out. That was number 19. Number 18 is another horror comedy. This one comes from Canada, I believe, shot in Vancouver, BC, and it's called Bloody Knuckles. Now, this one right here, I was so intrigued to check out because I'm a big fan of killer hand films. Basically, the storyline in this one is about a guy who has an underground comic. It's like a political comic. Anyways, he kind of fucks with the wrong guy. He does a comic about this Chinese crime lord in his city. And of course, this crime lord sends his goons to fuck up this guy. They cut off his hand. Now the hands come back. He grabs Travis, which is the artist, and, you know, they go on a revenge. It's pretty funny. It's got some really funny moments in this, like moments, laugh out loud moments, but Bloody Knuckles, I thought it was pretty cool. It gets a little haywire towards the end, but fun stuff. And yeah, that was number 18. Number 17 is another horror comedy. Like I said, this year had a lot of really good horror comedies. This one was just fantastic. I thought everything about this one was just great. Yeah, so in at number 17, Suburban Gothic. This one right here has like cameos from Jeffrey Combs in it. You know, we've got Matthew Gray Gulber. I think he's from some TV show. Kat Dennings from Two Broke Girls. But the guy that steals the show in this is Ray Wise. Ray Wise is absolutely fucking hilarious as his dad in this one. It's basically about this guy. You can like channel spirits and things like that, and also these spirits start fucking up the town, and they're trying to figure out what the hell's going on. There's a lot more to the story than that. It's, you know, it's pretty interesting. But a lot of funny moments. The comedic elements of this are executed so perfect in my opinion. Ray Wise's comedic timing in this is just brilliant. So funny, man, like to the point where I like had to pause the film a couple times, I was laughing so hard. But Suburban Gothic, I really enjoyed this one. I watched it a couple times this year. I thought it was fantastic. Check it out. Really good stuff. At least it's clever. So that was number 8. What was it, number 17? Number 16 is another one, I think in the last one, that I don't actually have in my possession, and that is Bone Tomahawk. Now, I really enjoyed this film. Kurt Russell, I thought, was really fantastic. You know, I've always said many times that there needs to be a lot more Western horror films, and this is a prime example of why they should make more. It's kind of a slow burn, but you know, there's a really decent payoff at the end of the film, some nasty gore, some really crazy things that are happening in the end of the film, but I enjoyed this, man. Thought it was fantastic. It's low budget, but really good. So Bone Tomahawk in at number 16. In at number 15 is a film that I kind of classified as like a modern day H.P. Lovecraft story. You know, the H.P. Lovecraft story that, you know, that he didn't write. And it's called Spring. In a nutshell, it's basically like a romantic horror film. It's really strange. About a guy that's, you know, over in Europe. He's just trying to figure himself out. He's having a rough time in life. Meets a girl, and then that's your film. This one's really good. You know, I've seen this as number 1 on people's lists, just most recently. Check out Spring, man. Beautiful cinematography, great acting, good effects. Just a lot of cool things that are going on in this one. It's a very memorable film because it actually keeps you thinking after the film and stuff. But Spring, check it out. Number 15, really enjoyed it. Yeah, number 14, we've got one that I haven't seen really on anyone's list, which actually kind of surprised me a little bit because I enjoyed the shit out of this. I mean, I did state that a couple of the shorts aren't the greatest, but they fill in the anthology so well that you don't even really realize that they're not really the greatest in the world. I should just say, just one of them isn't like, you know, one of the better ones, but, and that is A Christmas Horror Story. I thought this was fantastic. One of the best endings. I absolutely loved the ending to this anthology. I thought it was really well executed. Just fantastic stuff. Overall, you know, if you're a big fan of anthology films, this one's great. Everything kind of blends together. It's got a real gnarly Christmas feel to it. Awesome stuff. Loved it. So that was number 14. Number 13 is another horror comedy. This one here is a mockumentary from New Zealand, and you know, I had a blast with this film. It's so much fucking fun, so much fun, really well written, just an interesting premise. I love these mockumentaries, and that is What We Do in the Shadows, basically about a group of vampires that are living together and that are being documented by this film crew. It's funny as shit, man. Oh, I had such a blast with this. Just really good stuff. Of course, it has that Flight of the Conchords type, you know, humor to it, but it's so clever, well written, good effects, just a lot of memorable quotes, and you know, the comedic delivery in this too is just fantastic. Really good stuff. But I was blown away by the effects in this. They look really good, like very authentic and stuff. But genuine, very clever comedy. Check it out. What We Do in the Shadows. Awesome stuff. Yeah, number 13. In at number 12 is one that I haven't really seen on a lot of people's list. Maybe the odd person here and there. But I thoroughly enjoyed this film. I loved the atmosphere. I just loved how I just didn't really know what was going on until the end. Kind of cool stuff. And it is called Let Us Pray. I reviewed this one on my channel, watched it a couple times. I think I gave it a pretty good rating and stuff like that. This one is, of course, starring Pollyanna McIntosh from you know, the woman and stuff like that. She plays a cop, and it's her first night on this in this new precinct. Anyways, they arrest this strange guy who's known as Number 6. They put him into a cell, and all of a sudden he starts having this really strange effect on all the prisoners and the other police officers, and it's just basically you got to figure out what the hell is going on from there. I love this film, man. I know some people had problems with like certain guns and gunshots and things like that. Kind of nitpicking a little bit in my opinion, but I thought it was great, man. Great atmosphere and just great kills. And I just thought it was interesting how things developed in this film. It was nothing what I was expecting it to be, which is very cool. So let us pray. Yeah, awesome stuff. In at number 12. And at number 11 is a film that, wow, when I first watched this, I was really taken back by it because I had no idea. I'd never even heard of this film, and I got it for review and just absolutely ended up loving it. Starring Steve McHattie, Canadian actor, and I believe this actually is a Canadian film too. I'm not 100% sure. I think it is though. And it's called Hellmouth. This one basically kind of looks like Sin City in a nutshell. It has that kind of look to it. Starts out black and white, has color in black and white and things, and it's basically about Steve McHattie. He is a gravekeeper. He's watching this grave, and he's out the door. He's retiring, you know, in like a week or something like that. His boss shows up and tells him that he can't retire because he just lost his gatekeeper at this other cemetery, and he needs him to fill in for 6 months until they can find a replacement. But the thing is, Steve McHattie is dying of cancer, and he's only got like 2 years to live. He's super pissed off. His boss says, well, if you don't take it, you're going to lose your pension, so he has no choice. And then, you know, and then his journey starts, and crazy, crazy things happen. Really fucked up. You got monsters, weird things are happening. It's a really strange horror, kind of sci-fi, fantasy type film. Really cool. I haven't seen anything like this before, and if you haven't seen Hellmouth, definitely check it out. It's really fantastic. Loved it. Thought it was just excellent. Watched it about 3 times last year. It's just excellent stuff. So that was number 11. So getting into the top 10. I don't know why I did that, but but I'm doing not bad for time. All right, so into the top 10 here. Number 10, we've got a very, very indie film. Of course, this is the film that played in the movie Found, and then they made a full-length feature out of it. And it's called Headless, about a guy that's just going around killing people, you know, fucking their dead bodies, and, you know, shit like that. I think it's fantastic. The gore effects are just gross. It's very gritty, has an awesome look to it, a lot of good set pieces, creepy characters. You know, there's just a lot of things that are going for this film that I really enjoy. Definitely check out Headless, man. One of the coolest slashers / torture type films. I thought Headless was fantastic on all levels. That's why it's in my top 10. Watched it so many times. I think I watched it like 7 times last year. Great stuff though. Check out Headless, number 10. And at number 9 is a French film that's actually in English, directed by Romain Bassett. This is really interesting stuff. And it's called Horsehead. It's basically about this girl that, you know, goes back to her parents' house in light of her grandma dying. She studies psychophysiology. It's the study of dreams. Upon arriving there, she starts having like really crazy fucking dreams, and she has to figure out if these dreams are real or reality or not, and crazy things. It's a visual masterpiece. It's eye candy. A lot of people said it's more, you know, visual. You know, it's kind of substance over, you know, whatever. But I thought it was great though. I thought it was really, really good. And this is one that I still fully don't understand. I don't think really a lot of people do. But man, it is visually amazing. Cinematography is so beautiful. It's very influenced by Italian cinema. Of course, Catherine McCall is in this film. The return of her, which was so cool to see her in this film, playing a total bitch, which was really cool. But everything about this one, awesome. I loved Horsehead. Check it out. It's great, great. And that was number 9. Number 8 is another slasher film. And this one right here, I was really surprised by it. It was just really good. And it's called Girl House. About a girl that takes a job at a place called Girl House. It's an online version of, it's kind of like a porno Big Brother in a way. People log onto this site called Girl House. There's cameras all through this house where these girls live together. They do sex acts, they do shows, but they just live and people watch and things like that. There's a user named Loverboy who gets pissed off and then starts tearing some shit up. In a nutshell, Girl House executed very well. You know, it's funny, upon rewatching this one, it was a lot slower than I remembered it being. but it's interesting. There's really cool characters. There's a lot of development in this, and it's kind of believable in a way. You know, but check it out for yourself. I think it's a really well executed film, and I loved the whole Big Brother type idea with the internet and stuff. These films are getting really creative with the technology type films and things like that. So, but good stuff. Loved Slaine as the killer, the Boston MC. We all knew Slaine is if you follow my channel. But yeah, Girl House, good stuff. And that was number 8. Number 7 is a film that's kind of like a love letter to Fulci. It has a couple, you know, kind of elements of Fulci films, not like overly that much, but I thoroughly enjoyed this one, and we are still here. Man, this movie was so cool watching it a second time because I was just kind of, I don't know, man, I was just really into it even more. Like when I first watched it, I really enjoyed it, but I liked it more the second time, which I've heard the complete opposite. But basically about a family, husband and wife, that they're dealing with the loss of their son. They move out to the country to this house, and this house has a really dark secret, and it's, you know, kind of gets ghostly a little bit and stuff. Really fantastic stuff. I think Barbara Crampton does a great job as the mom. Actually, all the leads in this film do a great job. Larry Feddersen is in this film, and I thought the end effects, the third act, was awesome. Really, really bloody and gory, and I just liked the way it went down. I thought it was really well done, really well executed. So. But we're still here. Check it out. Thought it was awesome. Yeah, and that is number 7. Number 6 is a film from, I think it's Iranian, and yeah, the Iranian ghost town. But A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night. Man, very, very beautiful, beautiful film. Basically about a vampire who's a living vampire who's been around for about 300 years, something like that. Wanders into a city called Bad City. Meets this guy, and they start a relationship, and that's pretty much what it is. And he's going through a bunch of things with, you know, his personal life and his father and things like that. Very beautiful film, awesome music. Just the execution in this one's fantastic. It actually runs pretty long from what I remember, well, about 100 minutes, but man, it goes by quick in my opinion. It's just a very beautiful, well shot piece of cinema. Shot in black and white, which is awesome. But if you haven't seen A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night, this one is just, oh, awesome. Again, I've seen this one as number 1 film, so check out that one right there. That was number 6 into the top 5. Now, this is a film right here that when I first reviewed this one, man, I didn't really care for it as much as a lot of other people. Rewatched it, like closely rewatched it, and man, it went up. It made a huge jump in rating. Loved it. Think the execution is great, and that's It Follows. Really fantastic film. With a really cool premise, you know, about, you know, people having sex and passing on this entity, and this entity follows them, and they have to figure out a way to get rid of it by passing on to other people and stuff. It's a very creepy, kind of scary film. Really good score, good characters. It's got this really interesting tone and kind of setting to it. You know, all around, this is a really fantastic film, and I can see why people really love this one now. It didn't grip me at first, but it definitely grabbed me the second time around, and I'm looking forward to watching it again. It Follows, awesome flick, man. Really, really good film. So that was number 5. And then number 4, not necessarily a full-blown horror film, but this is set in a post-apocalyptic world, and it's called Turbo Kid. Turbo Kid, absolutely love this movie. Like I said, set in a post-apocalyptic world. Follows, you know, your main character, Turbo Kid here, who's just a scavenger. He comes across this turbo outfit. He you know, puts on the suit, becomes kind of like a superhero in a way, and he's got to fight off Michael Ironside, who's like the leader of, like, he runs the whole wasteland and stuff. Very cool film, super bloody, awesome stuff. Great, great, great soundtrack. Love the shout-outs to Rad in the beginning of the film. Really awesome stuff. Man, you know, if you haven't seen this film, definitely pick up the Steelbook from Canada. It's awesome. It's got great, you know, special features and stuff, but check it out. I loved it. All my heart. I just loved it, man. It's a great film. And that was number 4. In at number 3 is an Asian film starring Asami, and it's a revenge film called Gunwoman. Awesome, awesome flick, man. Absolutely loved every minute of this one. I think the execution was great. Just absolutely loved how this one went down. I love the training. I love the whole third act, like the whole revenge part of this. It's just, it's creative. It's probably not overly that believable, but, you know, I think it's great. Awesome. I give this one a 10 out of 10. I just was floored when I first watched this film. Just really fantastic stuff. But check out Gunwoman. Awesome flick. In at number 2 is, of course, going to be another film from New Zealand. Now, New Zealand has really been killing it, man, the last couple years. You know, with Housebound last year. You know, of course, What We Do in the Shadows, and of course this one right here, another horror comedy, Deathgasm. I was like, I fell in love with this movie the first time I watched it. I love the soundtrack. I love the premise of it, you know, playing music, conjuring up these demons. I turn other people into demons and things, and then I gotta fight them off, and it turns into an ultimate gore fest. It's just really fantastic stuff. So, but yeah, Deathgasm, really fantastic film. I mean, I couldn't recommend this one enough. I have no idea why some people just wouldn't like this film, but awesome, awesome stuff. So, the party movie of the year. I'm really looking forward to the sequel too, because they said the sequel is going to have more blood and gore than in the first 10 minutes than this film did as a whole, which is like crazy talk. But Deathgasm, awesome stuff. So yeah. Alrighty, still the moment we've been all waiting for. I don't know. My number one film of 2015, horror film of 2015, is none other than a Canadian masterpiece in my opinion, and it is going to Astron 6, The Editor. Oh yeah, I absolutely loved this, you know, giallo spoof. It was just, everything about this movie was so fantastic. Everything from, you know, Astron's directing and the writing, and just how they managed to, you know, even the cast that they assembled for this. You got Udo Kier, you got among people, like, there's so many familiar faces in this, but they really did do a good job with this, you know, making it not feel like a Canadian film. It really does feel like an authentic Italian film, you know, everything from the dubbing to the way they shot it, to the humor, to, I mean, some of the humor, I mean, to the lighting, just the story, everything about this movie just really does work. Yeah, it's just a fantastic piece of cinema. Yeah, I know this was the number one film on a lot of people's list, which is really cool to see it, actually. I was surprised at how good this was. You know, Astron 6's biggest, you know, budget film to date. I think they had about $105,000 to make this film, but they definitely made it look a lot bigger than the $100,000, because, you know, they got some pretty decent big names in this film too. Yeah, if you've never seen The Editor, man, give this one a shot. It's just such a fantastic film. This is the Scream Factory edition, which has, you know, that cover art on it. On the flip side right there, and this, of course, is the Canadian edition that has this one. Yeah, so I had to grab this because absolutely love this movie. But The Editor in at number 1. Yeah. Alrighty, guys, so that is going to do it for my top 30 films of 2015. Of course, there was many films that didn't make this list. I realized after I made this list, I actually forgot The Visit. I really enjoyed The Visit. I thought that it won an award for my biggest surprise of the year, because, to be honest, I wasn't really expecting anything from it, because I'm not a big M. Night Shyamalan fan at all. In fact, I only really like one of his movies. But yeah, I kind of forgot that one on this list. There was some other ones like, you know, Tales of Halloween, which, you know, I did really enjoy. I just kind of forgot about it when I did my top 30 too. I thought Crazy Murder just missed my cut. It got bumped last minute. It was another midnight releasing film. You know, Avenged, which, you know, got a release this year. I thought that was really good. Supernatural, horror film, revenge film from this year. Dark Summer, which was an IFC release from Scream Factory. I really enjoyed that one. I thought that was good. Final Girls was another really good one. But, you know, top 30. I was going to do a top 50, but I did a top 30 last year, so I was just going to continue with doing top 30s. A little easier to do. Actually, I shouldn't say easier, because I could have easily done a top 50. There was a lot of films that I did cut, so those are just some random ones that, you know, that didn't make the final cut. So, who knows? I might actually end up doing like a top 10 slasher film, and I'm still going to do my top, you know, media releases of the year and stuff like that. So stay tuned for that. Sorry about this video being so late. Just been swamped with life things, and it's hard to do everything. So anyways, guys, hope you guys enjoyed the video. See you next year for the same video. And I'll check you then. Peace out, homies.